Hello everybody, it's Mr. Second Amendment, and this is a follow-up video. This is my updated EDC kit video. This is the second EDC kit video I've made. The first one, I'll flash up a link now. For those of you who are unfamiliar, EDC is everyday carry, and this is basically a basic list of the things that I personally carry every day. And I'm going to go over why I carry them. The first video was my initial video to just get some information, get some ideas out there, and get you guys thinking a little bit. But I did say in that video, you know, as time changes, as the time in the filming changes, and as we go forward, you know, some pieces of gear are going to get swapped out or replaced. Some pieces of gear are going to remain the same. So you can check out the first video. This is the updated version of things that have been changing. So basically, I'm just going to get started. This, of course, the main attraction is a Springfield mil-spec 1911A1. Although it's not straight from the factory by any means, it's had quite a bit of changes to it. I'm going to flash up my custom mil-spec video series, so you can check that out. There's been a lot of stuff I've done to it. A lot of custom, better quality parts or different featured parts have been put into the gun, taken out, and whatnot. So, you know, on paper it's a Springfield mil-spec 1911, but in reality it's not. Just a quick word about the gun. I said this in the first video. You know, the 1911, a full-sized, full steel 5-inch barrel, government-sized 1911, is not your average, or I would even say recommended, concealed carry handgun. I'm gonna have a video I'm gonna hopefully do pretty soon here that's gonna go over helping you guys try to look towards good solutions as a concealed carry handgun. This handgun works for me. I know it well. I can get good results with it. I'm a huge fan of the caliber and the battery of arms, ergonomics, huge 1911 guy. I can just get the best results with it, and I choose to carry it. Yes, I have to, you know, my cost, my burden, I guess, is the weight and the size and all that, but I do it every day, and you know, you could carry, you know, an artillery piece, whatever, as long as you can carry it consistently every day. That's all that matters, and that's what people would call a proverbial artillery piece in the handgun community. Moving away from that, I just want to get back to the root of it. You know, everyday carry is more of a concealed carry mindset for law-abiding citizens who are lawfully going to carry concealed every day with a permit, with the training, which I highly recommend. But this video is also geared towards people who are going to carry, just maybe they legally can't carry a gun every day, or maybe they don't own a gun yet, or they haven't done the concealed carry training yet, or maybe, you know, this is geared towards anybody who's going to be prepared for anything. So, you know, even if you don't have a concealed carry permit, or maybe where you're at legally, you're not allowed to carry a gun, that's okay. I think you can still get a lot out of this video. So, going back to the gun, we covered that. My mil-spec video series, I already linked it. I'll link it again if you want details as to what exactly has been done and why this is a different gun than the factory gun. Works for me. We're going to move on from there. Now, in terms of ammunition, if you are going to have a semi-automatic handgun as your concealed carry gun, the standard is 3 mags, 1 in the gun, plus 2 ready to go extra. I cannot support the people who just take a little 380 or a little, you know, a semi-automatic handgun or whatnot, or a revolver, and they just put it in their pocket and they call it good. You know, you may be in a situation where you may have to reload and continue to put rounds on target to get away from something, or a sustained firefight, or something could happen. That's the worst of any scenario I can think of, but you always want to have more ammo. I'd rather have more than not enough. So I have changed my magazines. If you recall last time, they were a combination of Medgar, Springfield Factory, and Kimber Factory magazines. We're now at all Wilson Combat 8-rounders. So I have 8 rounds in each mag plus 1. So I have a full mag topped off in the gun, and then I have 2 spare mags ready to go for a total of 25 rounds between 2 reloads. For a 1911, that's pretty standard. 1911 standard rounds, though, is 7 in the usual government factory magazine, so this is 1 up on each mag, plus my plus 1 in the gun, leading us to 25 total. I really like these Wilson Combat magazines. They're easy to take apart and service. You can clean out the carbon and dirt. Yes, I have them fully loaded at all times. The benefit is I have the most firepower possible in a gun that already has a firepower problem. The downside is my magazine springs, yes, of course, are going to wear down faster. They're going to need replacing perhaps more frequently than if I had maybe 5 rounds stacked in the mag. But, you know, in that moment of need, that once-in-a-lifetime crazy life-changing situation, if I ever had to use this, God forbid, in my own defense or defense of others in defense of life, I'm going to be really happy that I have 8+1 and then 2 8-rounders rather than all my mags having 5 rounds. Like I said, in a gun that already has a firepower problem, compare this to something like an XDM9 that has 19+1. Okay, that's more than double of what I have. So, you know, a gun that already has a firepower problem, you better believe I've upgraded to the 8-rounders, +1 in the gun. Let's move to the gun holster, and I'm going to also show the belt. The belt has not changed. It's still the same heavy-duty rigger style belt. They do make better ones, but this one seems to be working pretty well for me. All this, as you can see here, this is all weight. There's a lot of weight going on here, especially with the gun and all this other stuff in the way. There needs to be a belt that is strong, that has no give, no flex. This is it for me. Now the holster is kind of an interesting situation. This was actually given to me on loan from a good friend, Chris, who's actually about to ship out. So shout out to you, Chris. Good luck. And my buddy Chris here, he's one of our RSOs on the range. He, since he's leaving, he let me borrow this because he's a 1911 guy as well. And basically it's an all leather holster. I can't remember the manufacturer. That's okay though, because I'm going to demonstrate that this holster is a proper leather holster. And again, we can't be too sure. The gun is in fact unloaded. I'm going to go ahead and put it on safe, as it should be carried, round in the chamber on safe. That's how it should be carried every day. Okay, so it fits snugly. The gun basically has a perfect fit with this holster. My other holsters have not been so great. This is probably the best one yet. And I can hold it upside down, I can shake it. That shows it's a proper fit. Okay, and if I need it, pull it out. There it is. So retention is something we want to look for in a leather holster. When it's against my body and it's tucked in, basically inside the waistline. It's a very tight fit, but it's pretty easy, knowing how to use it now, it's pretty easy to pull it out and use it when I need it. Something that always worries me with any holster, I'm going to go ahead and take this out and make this safe again. Again, it's unloaded, we'll place that back down. Something that always worries me about a holster is if I have to draw and the holster comes out on the gun. That's a bad situation. Do not want that to happen, so I kind of jerry-rigged this effective solution. Actually, it works really well. This flap right here basically goes under the belt line, but I jerry-rigged this 550 cord loop that goes around the band. And the whole purpose of that, I'm making sure you can see everything, but the whole purpose of that is the belt goes through there, so over the loop and under the metal clip, and it basically locks in and secures the holster onto the belt line. It's kind of a weird, interesting solution. The problem with this was that the clip was, the fit was too good that the clip would actually not hold on the belt line. So I decided to change things. It's kind of a jerry-rig solution, but I'm going to tell you what, I practiced lots and lots of times. It works perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong. And as long as it's effective and it's going to last, that's all that really matters, as long as you're good with it. Moving on to my mag carrier, I have changed from that Blackhawk. It's basically going from one Blackhawk product to the next. I'm pretty sure by the end of this thing I'm going to have the whole Blackhawk line being reviewed here, between their sling on my 590 to everything else. And check out my 590 video if you haven't already. There's a link. Alright, basically this goes on the belt line. I put my magazines in like such. Okay, so it's on the belt line. You notice they're facing the same way. Many professionals, competition shooters, law enforcement officers are going to tell you to do that. Some people will do it like that, facing other ways. I don't know about that. You know, I want to have consistency in all ways. And, you know, this is just one little tiny minor step that's going to help me be a little more consistent when I grab and go. So basically I grab it out. So if it's there, I grab it out, and with the finger I guide it into the gun. And this seems to holds the mags pretty well. It has a tension adjuster. I've got it where I want it. Doesn't seem to creep or walk. That's really good. So it's a single stack, hard mag carrier. This seems to work really well. And just anything that has controlled feed and holds it securely, anything we can do to help us, let's do it. All right, moving on to my light sources. I always say you should have two sources of light, one of which is non-flammable, and then you should have a source of flame. Just an idea I have right now, it's 120 lumens, it's an H&K, basically just a 1-inch diameter light. Pops in and out, pretty bright, lights up a room pretty well at night, has a retention clip. And I moved away from that pen light that you saw in the first video because it broke. It was cheap and it lasted just as long as I thought it would, so had to move on. My next source of light is going to be also my source of flame, which is a Zippo lighter. Zippos are pretty much unchanged for decades. They've been the same design, literally unchanged the whole time. And I can fill this with diesel, I can fill this with gas, I can fill this with lighter fluid. Pretty much anything flammable, I can refill this. And for those who don't know, it's basically the housing. You fill up this portion right here. This is just cotton wadding is all that is. And it has a flint. The flints have to be changed. It has a wick. And it's actually very simple, effective, reliable source of ignition. Really valuable to have. If I'm out, basically if I'm out in the wilderness, I can signal or make a glint off of that. Zippo is just a great thing to have. Chapstick, really just creature comfort, but I have been known to use that on extended camping trips when I start to see rust forming on something. Just apply a bunch of that, stops it. Gum is just a creature comfort, really no tactical advantage to that, honestly. All right, now moving on to my blades. Last time we had a whole blade situation going on, and I have people who, my primary blade is the Benchmade Mini Griptilian. It's the Tanto 154 cm stainless steel. Great knife, as you can see here. It's had a couple miles put on it. Good knife though. And I have some blade haters who hate the Tanto. That is okay, haters, because guess what? I got you right here. Okay, I got my full straight blade. This is a Kershaw Leak. It's a Ken Onion design. And you know, the basic part of this here is it's been described as a gentleman's carry knife. It's very sharp. Very fragile tip though. I mean, I can use the Mini Griptilian. I'm not a huge knife guy, by the way, but I'm starting to be, I guess. This guy I've used for literally everything under the sun, as you can tell. And it lasts. It hasn't chipped or anything like that. It's a very strong steel, very well made knife. Good job, Benchmade. This is basically a little more fragile, so I don't use this for the rough tasks. I use this for more delicate, fine cutting tasks. Has a good retention clip. It's an assist. So it's actually not an auto or switchblade knife. It's not legally classified as such. It does have a little safety lock down there so it doesn't deploy in your pocket, which is kind of pretty serious. But a really nice knife. Don't really use it for the hard tasks just because I don't know if it's up to it. And then of course I have my Leatherman. For those of you who hate serrated blades, it's okay, haters. I got you covered as well. Got my Leatherman, got a really wicked sharp blade there. And really the Leatherman, I got tools around my work site. I've got basic tools in here, so I'm not worried about having a multi-tool with a million tools on it, but really the reason why, I like that it has a spring opposition there. But I like the grips, like the pliers right here. That's a huge added benefit that I really like to have on me at all times. Leatherman Sidekick, good option, at least right as of now. Smartphone, probably the most under-talked about, underrated piece of your EDC carry, all right? Open carriers, concealed carriers, or even just a regular law-abiding citizen, you know, there is definitely value in having something on you that can do photos, it can do video, it can do audio recording, it can do GPS, it can make phone calls. Very useful thing to have, especially a smartphone that has like an audio recording app. If there's any encounter with law enforcement, or there's any situation that's starting to get a little rough, or I have customers on the range who are starting to get a little angry or whatnot, I'll just quickly pop on my audio recording device. It is protected basically by a screen lock, so I have to be I'm the one who has to unlock it. So if somebody for some reason got a hold of this phone and wanted to stop the audio recording or whatnot, they would have to know the password and I would not give it. So kind of an underrated thing here. There have been, you know, I respect cops. I work with cops. I know many cops on a professional and personal level. Love those guys. They're doing a hard job out there. There have been some incidents, though, where concealed carry or especially open carry guys have had some pretty serious issues. I'm a huge fan of audio and video recording. If anything like that happens, you get pulled over, any weird stuff is about to occur, not a bad idea to audio record and have no way of shutting it off unless you wanted to. Kind of an idea we got to protect ourselves. We protect our lives here. We protect us legally with stuff like that. And also knowing the law, knowing what is and is not legal. That is your responsibility as a concealed carry permit holder and as someone who's going to live in this society in general. All right, I have my notepad. Last time I had my calendar. I've integrated it into my notepad. It's a Write in the Rain, really successful. You can write with pencil or ink. Pencil is more effective, but it works. This can get wet, either water or sweat, but this can get totally wet. It's still going to retain it. It's a very durable, thick, heavy-duty paper. I love it to have this on hand. I can schedule my events, keep record of it, and if anything crazy on the range happens or any upset customers or anything weird is happening, I can write down my initial thoughts, or I can write down my thoughts after it happens, so I have that to refer to later. Do work on a range, so eye pro is necessary. I still recommend sunglasses or something covering your eyes, if at all possible. Just a good idea. Tree branches or something getting in your face. I mean, again, this is, and some of you guys, outsiders looking in, all this stuff may just be a total clash or a total ambush of information. It may be very weird to you to see these things out here, that somebody would carry all of this every day. It may be weird to hear my explanations as to why I'm carrying these things or doing these things. But for those of you who are sheepdogs, you're concealed carry permit holders, open carriers especially, rock on, guys. It's not easy being an open carrier. I prefer concealed carry. It works best for me, but if you are an open carrier, rock on. Not easy to do that, and it definitely exercise your rights. And this is what we need to make sure that we're protected in all ways. Moving on to my watch. This is basically a face clock here. I like it because if you know what you're doing, you can actually orient yourself with north, south, east, and west. If you are lost, you can use the sunlight if you know what you're doing. And I like the fact that this comes off, so I can use this really tough band. I can use this for anything I want. I don't have to have it as a single purpose watch. And the watch, I can tie this to any piece of gear, put that in my pocket, or do whatever I need to if for whatever reason I have to do something like that. Again, like some of you guys are going to hear my explanations, you may think that it's like over prepared, or you may think I'm paranoid for certain unrealistic events. And you know what, my answer to that is I encourage any criticism, but I would rather be way over prepared than under prepared. There's nothing worse, especially when your life is on the line, than not having what you need when you need it. Moving on, paracord bracelet, made it myself, put my tag in there. It's kind of for show. It's kind of turned into an everyday jewelry piece almost, but a severe functional value. That's 550, 7-ply military paracord. Huge advantage. You can do so much with paracord. I could make a video just about paracord, and I really should. Probably another extension of my Fieldcraft videos, which I'll throw up links for now, which are kind of cool. But basically, really useful. I can disassemble this, use this for anything. 550 cord, if you're not familiar. Military spec, 7-ply. It's going to be used in parachutes, rigging, and pretty much anything that needs tying down for basic purposes. Good stuff to have. Got my keys for work. Got my keys for my vehicle and home. And it always is, I don't have it here. It's always good to have a hide key on your car in a hidden place. It's saved me many times. It's beyond EDC though. It's more moving towards something else, which is also another subject of a different video. Moving on, got the sturdy, heavy-duty wallet that is, of course, ironically, it's Blackhawk. I'm just turning into a Blackhawk poster here. It's got my ID, military ID, concealed carry, all that stuff that you should have. You should always have. This bugs the hell out of me. People show up at the range and for some reason they don't have any photo ID of any kind, even like a library card or a student ID. They don't have anything. How do you not carry a photo ID of any kind, especially a state or government issued ID? How do you even live? You have to operate a vehicle, and when you operate a vehicle, it does require possession of a valid driver's license from the state of issuance. So, between every daily task that you're doing, I don't know how anybody walks around without photo ID of any kind. In some states, you are actually required to furnish that, or at least the information, name, address, and whatnot. Some states you're not, and that, again, that's knowing your state law. But always have a photo ID of some kind is always a valuable thing to have. I don't even understand how people just leave the house and they don't have photo ID. That's to me, that's just completely foreign. And especially if you're a concealed carry permit holder and you're carrying every day like you should be. All right, many states require, I can't think of any state that does not require you to possess valid photo ID in addition to your concealed carry permit. You must have both. I don't know of any state that says you can't unless it's something like Alaska, Vermont, Arizona, where there is no permit. Pretty much every state, if you have a concealed carry permit, you are carrying an ID with your permit. And if you don't have a concealed carry permit, you don't have a handgun that concealed carry, you're just average Joe, you should have an ID anyway. Can't stress that enough. You always want to be able to identify yourself. All right. Why, Mr. Second Amendment, do we have shoes or footwear in an everyday carry video? You don't carry this. What is up? All right, first video, you guys got the rundown on it. I think you should always be wearing shoes that are conducive to you running to or away from something. Don't be that guy that's going to throw a little bodyguard 380 in his board shorts and he's going down the boardwalk in sandals. Okay? Maybe that works for you, but you know what? I want to be wearing footwear that is going to allow me to run through brush, run through glass, run through gravel, anything like that. I'm out there in the mud and dirt sometimes, so I do wear boots. I got rattlesnakes walking around, slithering around, I should say, where I work. So I'd rather be wearing boots. That's your choice. Wear something you can run in. Why, Mr. Second Amendment, do we need to worry about running? Well, you could be responding or running away from a disastrous event. And you may have to run through brush or glass or gravel or not so friendly conditions, and you're going to be sitting there in your sandals, which are going to fly off your feet, and you're just going to give yourself unnecessary damage, unnecessary cuts or whatnot. Just an idea. Probably not mandatory. I mean, if you're going to blend in, you know, obviously you're not going to blend in at the beach wearing boots and jeans, but you know, you got to weigh the situation for what it is, so that's your call. Hopefully in this video, this is kind of an improvement over the first video. Most of the stuff has honestly remained the same. Really, my upgrades are my light, an additional knife, and people are going to say, Mr. Second Amendment, what is up with 2 knives and a multi-tool? I didn't talk about that. One is for me, one is to give out for people, and if I lose it or they forget to give it back to me that day, then it's okay. I have another knife. You know, you always have that coworker for some reason, like maybe your job title is official box opener at this corporation, and your buddy who is also an official box opener doesn't show up with a knife that day. I mean, that happens every day. Like, hey, can I borrow your knife for a second? It's always for a second, and you never see that knife again. We all know at least 1 or 2 guys in our life that is like that. Hey, can I borrow this for a second? You never see it back. So I'd rather have my own knife that I trust, my rental knife that if I don't see it again, it's going to suck, but I still have a knife, and I have my multi-tool. Anyway, additional knife, different light source, different magazines, different holster, far more successful, far better holster. And I didn't talk about this. And again, we're going to make sure it's unloaded. We check every firearm every time we pick it up. I'm going to put it on safe, put it in the holster. All right, this is what we need. We got this flap protecting me from the safety and the sight and all that bulging into me all day, so that's good. We also have, more importantly, trigger coverage. So the trigger is completely covered, which any good holster should have. And the barrel is right about edge length with the barrel. That's fine because it's an inside the pant holster. If this was an outside the pant holster, I'd be a little concerned that it doesn't have proper muzzle protection, but I do have my jeans over this. Not too worried about it for an inside the pant holster. In fact, the less the better for inside the pant, in my opinion. So mags have changed, mag carrier has changed, holster has changed. As you can see, mags are now Wilson Combat 8-rounders instead of factory 7-rounders. For a gun that already has a severe firepower disadvantage, we might as well do everything we can to help ourselves. So hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you guys have benefited from the update. And I guess, you know, just put your comments and thoughts and ideas in the comment section. Thanks for watching.